Good morning, everyone. It is Wednesday, September 21st. I'm out here in the garden. I just harvested a bunch of stuff but needed a few more things and came out again. I thought I'd show you what my garden is looking like now. I've got a lot harvested out of, but I still have a lot yet to go. So show you what things are done and what things are still coming in. So I thought we'd start off at this end. Of course it's sweetie, it's just that time of year. I've got some celery still growing here that I've been using for different things. That's growing well. I have a whole line of broccoli here that I'm still getting a few little heads off every day, so I come and it's enough to make a meal once in a while, but mostly it's done. Ooh, I see a really big nice one over there I have to pick though. And then we have our beans. These were the first ones that I planted here, so they're done. These rows in here were meant to be for canning. My beans just didn't do well this year. We've been eating them fresh, eating all we want. I think I canned a total of 12 jars, which is not great. I'd rather have like 40 or 50. We like to eat them quite often, but that's okay. Over here, this was where my cucumbers were growing up. Those are all dead, but we had a great cucumber harvest. We got some more broccoli that's flowering over here. Again, I'll pull a few florets off here and there for a meal. And then here is my cattle panel that I had tomatoes on. Those I just pulled off the other day. Our tomatoes did great, but we got a late blight. So a few were unusable. Most of my Roma Sano, they got the blight too, but they seem to be very usable. So I have 4 plants left right here. They need to be pulled, but I've used what I can off them. The fruit is fine. I need to get rid of the vines just so it doesn't go back into the ground. And then over here I have my pepper plants, which have been doing phenomenally well. I just picked a bunch of red peppers off them to do roasted red peppers, which I love to use in recipes. And I also picked a bunch of green peppers, got some in here to make some different things today. So these pepper plants, it's hard to see as they're all camouflaged in, but they are loaded with peppers and they are doing really awesome. And then on this side of the garden, we have our rampant watermelon patch, which was all of this area. We've probably eaten or given away at least, gosh, 12 to 15 watermelons, and I still have at least 9 or 10. I mean, this one over here is huge. I don't know if you can tell it on the camera. It's ginormous, and they've all been really good. So I've got a couple more big ones sitting over there camouflaged. And mixed in with this, I have my squash plants, butternut squash. I did plant these a little later to try to avoid some of the squash bugs, which seem to do a good job. Just have to see if they're going to ripen up the way they should, but they're looking good. Got my sunflowers, but they're all done. Saved some seeds from those, and my marigolds, cosmos. And this whole area here was cucumber vines, but I pulled those out again. Our cucumbers did fantastic this year. Ate a bunch, canned pickles, and the beautiful marigolds. And then over here, I have a lot of work ahead of me. This whole row, from down there all the way up there, and this half a row, which I've already gotten some out of, is all carrots. They've done phenomenally well. I've put them in a lot of things already, and I'm waiting to can them up, which is what I will do with a lot of them until I've made the stuff I want to make. Probably going to try to store some of them because we like them for fresh eating too. But we're going to have a lot of carrots this year. So, very end of summer, early fall garden. I'm really happy with what it did. course, we have, you can't even see anymore. We have our whole potato patch, which did really well. Of course, it's all weeds growing up now, but that's fine. The potatoes are already formed. And I've actually gotten some raspberries off of our new raspberry bushes. So that's awesome as well. Hopefully we'll get some blueberries and some blackberries next year. So I'm gonna head into the house and show you what else we got. It's a beautiful day here. That noise is them unloading corn silage. Okay, so we're back inside the house. These are all things that I got this morning out of the garden. Got a bunch of onions over here. It's gonna go in my sloppy Joe mix that I'm going to can today. Got some green beans just for dinner tonight. That won't be enough, but I can probably go out and pick some of those broccoli florets as well. Then I have a bunch of these red peppers. They're just sweet bell peppers, but they've already turned red. I like to char these and then jar them up as roasted red peppers, one of my favorite things to add in. I have a bunch of green peppers, so probably these 3 really big ones. I'm gonna put stuffed peppers together. Most likely for dinner tonight, actually. These peppers are just huge. I don't even know if you can see them, but I mean, they're bigger than my hand. I mean, it looks like a pumpkin. So pretty. I'm not sure which kind these were either because I grew a couple of different kinds. I'm gonna have to check that out. And then I have a bunch of these kind of just littler otter shaped peppers I'm going to cut up. I'm going to cut up for the sloppy joes as well. So the onions and those peppers will be going to sloppy joes. And then these other 3 peppers, and I'm going to cut up some homegrown celery and some carrots and mix that in with the stuffed pepper mix. Can't talk today. And what I do is I put extra of those in the broth as well, and then when we're done with the stuffed pepper part of it, I will turn the broth and the extra veggies and any extra meat and turn that into stuffed pepper soup, which they love as well. This is what I need to work on first. I have my whole sink here full of the last of our tomatoes. I'm going to boil those down and then just turn them into sauce and then turn that into a sloppy Joe mix, which I will then can up later today. As you can see, my kitchen is very much a working kitchen. It will not be pretty. You will see things in the background. These are things that I canned the other day. I had these jars of, I made a chili base so that when I make chili, I can just throw those in with some, and add some beans and some meat to that. And then these smaller pint-sized jars over here are barbecue sauce. And so I made those things with all of our own tomatoes. Everything that went in it was our own things. And then I also ended up making 45 quarts, I believe, of just garden medley spaghetti sauce. And then, I'm not gonna remember the number now. I think it was close to 30 jars of actual just pizza sauce. So we like that as well. So it's been a very good garden year. Very happy with it, and I love these colors that's on here. I think they're just so beautiful. So I'm gonna get doing that. Talk to you in a bit. So of course, since I decided I didn't have enough stuff to do, this is how I work. I saw that I have all this extra cream on top of the milk, which I don't like to see go to waste, so I take off the cream. I zhuzh it all up in there, high-speed blender, and I turn it into butter. I'll do that off camera so you don't have to listen to it. Got the meat cooking in the background. And then I'll show you what it looks like when it's done. So at the same time over here, I've got my tomatoes cut up now. It's as full as a pot will allow me to get, but I still do have some more to put in there. So when those go down a little bit, I'll just add the other ones. And then I've got my first 2 pounds of ground beef. This is beef from cows that we raise here on our farm. So I got my first 2 pounds browning up. When this is browned up, I'll drain it off and put it in a large pot. I've got a total of 12 pounds to cook, and that's what's going to go into my sloppy joes that I'm going to can. So I'll show you that as the process goes on. Make sure you can hear me that well with all the stuff that I have going. So here's the update. I am on my 10th pound of ground meat. I have 2 more pounds over there to go. I've gotten all the tomatoes in and they're starting to cook down. Taking off all this tomato juice because I want tomato sauce anyway, so I don't really need the juice. There's all the ground beef that's already been cooked. This is ground beef ready for stuffed peppers. I'll put it in the fridge for now. And all that cream has been made into butter, which I'll keep showing you the process as I go. Okay, this is what we're left with. I drained out all the buttermilk, and then I put in cold water with some ice cubes, and I mixed it around again, and it brings it all together so you can see the butter. I'll take out this. You can see all the butter down there. And I will scrape that into a bowl, and then I will press out the rest of the buttermilk so the butter can be nice and hard, and I will put some salt in and make it into a stick. Here it is salted and put into the butter forms that I have. I like to use these just because it's easier to measure when I need to use it. So I got a little more than a stick and a half, maybe a stick and 2/3 of butter. I will put this in the fridge and let it harden up, and then I will wrap them with freezer paper, mark what it is and the date, and I can use them for whatever I want. This was probably about a pint of cream total. And of course, if you were to go buy a pint of cream, make it in a butter yourself, you could do it. It probably would not be worth the price, but we live on a dairy farm and don't want the cream to go to waste. Okay, so all the tomatoes have cooked down. This pot was full. I've been taking it from there, putting them in my high-speed blender, blending it up. You can still see the seeds and some pieces of skin. So then I strain it over this pot where the meat is, and you can see down there the tomato sauce is coming out. The seeds stay in here. Putting them in this dish over here. None of this will go to waste. We have chickens, and so all the scraps from today will go to the chickens. So this is going to act as the tomato sauce in my sloppy joe recipe that I'm going to can up later today. And I'm just going to work on this right now. Okay, here is my pot of sloppy joes. This is a very large pot. I don't know how many quarts it is. I'm planning, hopefully it'll make me at least 20 pints of sloppy joe, and that's what we're planning to have for supper tonight. Got my pans over there, cleaned up and heating up. I love my cast iron pans. I ended up adding some tomato paste into the sloppy joe. I just didn't think it had enough tomato flavor, so I'm going to have to put that in individual baggies and freeze it for later use. Got most of my countertop space back out in the dishes. And here is my pot of, oh, that's really pretty on screen. My pot of, it's a stuffed pepper. However, I did not end up putting it in the peppers because, let's face it, all the people in my family take it out of the peppers and don't eat the peppers. Anyway, so I decided to cut up the peppers, put them inside. So I guess it's an unstuffed pepper soup, and then just make large meatballs. On the bottom there, you can't see it, is a bunch of peppers, carrots, and celery cut up. And then I also have the meat with peppers, carrots, and celery, some onion powder, some garlic powder, some pepper, and some salt. Yeah, I think that's all I put in there. I'm not going to cook this today. I'm going to put it in the fridge overnight. I will cook it tomorrow, and so I will just fill it up with as much water as I feel it needs. The meat will provide a nice broth flavor, and we will have that for soup, for supper tomorrow night. Obviously there will be leftovers, and I may be able to freeze some as well, but significantly cleaned up. I did not get to my red peppers today. They will wait. Probably tomorrow I'll roast those and can those up. Here's my scrap bucket for my chickens. They will love that. Obviously a different day. I didn't realize that I never filmed an end clip for that video. It was such a nice day, but it was a really long day of making things, but I ended up with so much. I ended up with 30 pint jars of the Sloppy Joe, which we have tried and has been so good and so nice and easy to pull off the shelf and just make a quick lunch or supper. So that was great. And yeah, it was just a long but productive day. So thanks for watching this video. If you did like it, if you would hit that like and subscribe button, I sure would appreciate it. See you on the next one.